It's the start of another week. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Obiajulu.
Hi, excellent morning, everyone. I'm doing well. Thank God. I had a good weekend.
Did you rest well this weekend?
Yes, I rested. It was a resting weekend. But yesterday we had to go out. I took the kids out to the cinema. We saw a movie.
Nice. Did they enjoy it?
Yeah, they did. I was supposed to say a Nigerian movie, but they had just finished Strangers before we came in, so we couldn't wait till...
We missed the timing.
Yes, we missed the timing. So we just saw an Oyibo movie as well, which was quite interesting. It was just a family time together. So this week, work has started. Everybody's up and about.
I'm telling you, this whole week is like after the holidays, the Muslim holidays, everybody was just
struggle to get out of
today's
bed.
appointment every day this week. Like
Same here.
Yeah, this week is also booked. How you doing, Takwe?
I'm very good.
Your hair matches your dress.
It's my birthday week.
Yeah.
And I bought myself a birthday gift.
Ah,
yes. There are three things, but I'll share two things quickly. First thing is, I realized that many people watch from the diaspora, so I have a birthday your view promo for anybody that wants to buy a property from Rep 360. There's 10% discount. I will not post it online. I will not post any detail online. It is only for those that watch your view. And if you reach out online and tell me you watched the show today, you will get that promo because it's my birthday. Number one. Number two, I discovered a place called Center for Destitute Empowerment. So that's where I'll be spending my birthday this year.
Awesome.
After the show on Thursday, we'll be going to Center for Destitute Empowerment. It's in Idimu. And it is a small group of people who are largely abandoned, not the ones that are disabled or not, not the ones that are not, maybe most of them have like Down syndrome, some complications that I feel the parents left them alone. So they were picked off the streets and kept in that facility. About almost 60 of them. Their uniform is Ankara, and I'm buying Ankara for them, but they need a generator. So if you can support with that, it will go a long way. It will be ideal. But that's how I'm spending my birthday. So you can join me at Idimu Center for Destitute Empowerment.
Amazing.
Well done. Well done. Nice nails, too.
Yeah.
It's your birthday week.
Nice. How you doing, Mariam?
I'm good. I'm fine. The weekend was restful, too, for me. And our grandchild was 5, so that's what we spent our Sunday.
Nice.
Yes. It was really fun for the kids, especially for all of us, just being around family.
Did you go to the movies or anything?
No, I didn't. That's where we spent our whole Sunday. It was really good. Very interesting.
No,
yeah,
at the
yeah,
birthday.
yeah.
Baby 5.
Yeah.
We saw the
We
picture
saw the
online.
pictures, Evier, I think.
It's 5, yes.
Fantastic. Lovely, lovely.
So lovely.
I was in a Belkuta.
You look so pretty in your pink outfit.
Oh, thank you. She said I look presidential.
She was.
Okay, well, all good. Never know. About to God's ears. You never know. Now, so, anyways, yeah, so we're in a Belkuta for Mrs. Durojaye's funeral. And I was happy to be there with my younger brother. My elder brothers came around, and it was just nice to just show support. And I like the fact that family members showed up, you know, to support him. You know, even my mom's brother, my auntie Kofo, different people came out from, and it meant a lot to me that people that my mom would have ordinarily called came along, and those who showed be there sent him support. I mean, that means a lot.
What should you watch?
Yeah, that was it.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I was so happy to have them. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front page of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, we're starting with the Punch. Emefiele heads for court as anger spreads over presidential ambition. Picture here of few queues resurfaces in Abuja and neighboring states. Lagos sacks abandoned vehicles. Panel alleges extortion. Graduates stranded as Kwara Poly NYSC mobilized imposter for service. Will soon reveal Imo killing sponsors, says Uzodimma. Imo governor mourns as Nzeribe dies at 83. ASUU FG disagree over planned meeting. Nigeria loses 1.22 trillion naira to deficit oil production. Naira slumps to 595 Naira to the dollar. Forex shortage persists. Okay, which story are we starting with?
So the Imo State's governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, has said that he will soon reveal the sponsors of killings in the state in 2 weeks' time. So he spoke with journalists when he gave them this information, said that he has identified the politicians behind the insecurity in the state, and investigations by security agencies are currently ongoing. That he would have just gone ahead to mention their names, but after his meeting with the security agencies, they had warned that he shouldn't mention the names first because it would jeopardize the investigations that are ongoing. So he said that hopefully in 2 weeks' time, he'll be able to give us the names, and he is suspecting that the people involved are those who are against the APC political party. And so he also went ahead to talk about the Southeastern presidency, saying that it will be important, or it will be good for equity and justice, that the two major political parties present a Southeastern as their presidential candidate, that this will show that they are ready for zoning, because all the stakeholders, there's a sort of sympathy for zoning at the moment.
So the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, is still trending, and that after 3 key groups had bought him 100 million Naira nomination form. That's the Rice Farmers Association, Friends of Emefiele, and the Emefiele Support Group had come together to buy him a form. And since then, it has been, there's been quite a lot of response to that. Many people have called for his resignation, that it was wrong for him to continue his role as CBN governor and then be running for office. And so he has since hired Chief Mike Ezekome, SAN, as his lawyer to help him interpret the Constitution based on the fact that if he's allowed to run for office, even as an appointed, as a governor of CBN. This is also, as many have already said, that he's not a member of any political party. However, the chairman of his ward, I'm trying to get the name here, came out to say that, no, he's actually a registered member of the APC in, I think it's Ward 6 in Ika South local government of Delta State. That's Mr. Nduka Erikpume. I confirmed that he's a member of the APC since February. So right now he has hired Zekome to see the constitutionality of his picking up a form and running for office, even as CBN governor. Many have feared that if you are the one owner of the purse, the entire money is in your hand, and you're not finished. You are done. You use it for politics, and we would now have you have an undue advantage. Yes, so we'll see how that plays out.
I want to take the story of the NYSC. This is serious drama. A graduate from Kwara Poly was stranded. She said she traveled 3 times to get her certificate from her school, from Oyo to Ilorin. And then when she finally got her certificate and logged in to the NYSC portal at a cyber cafe, she got the information that her detail had been used already. And somebody had been mobilized based on her own information. So she was wondering, like, she's holding her own name. She found the person's picture. And then went to Facebook to the person's picture to trace the person's name as Grace. So the person actually, and she wrote a letter to the school, wrote a letter to the police, reported the situation, got to as far as DSS, that they said that they would go ahead with NYSC to demobilize the girl that was using her name and her details, only for things to stall at that point, and nothing had been resolved to her. So that was how she came to the papers.
She did the investigation work herself.
Yes, she even got the WhatsApp number of the girl and was chatting. The girl had changed her phone now, so she cannot reach the girl again. But the girl is serving under another person's details.
Hey,
this...
Please take it up.
Very.
Well done. So, former Senator Arthur Nzeribe has passed on. The Imo State governor describes it as a huge loss. His family and so many people in Nigeria have sent their condolences. He's described as the great Iroko tree that has fallen. He represented Imo State, Olu constituency at the Senate from May 1999 to May 2007. And for me, is that I remember in the early days of democracy, one of the names you keep hearing is Arthur Nzeribe.
In the news.
His soul rests in perfect peace.
My dad used to mention that name. Glory Nzeribe. Okay, moving on quickly to the nation. APC slams 9 conditions on presidential aspirants. Petrol scarcity back in FCT. FG investors draw down 850 billion naira on claimed dividends fund. Two expectant mothers held for drugs. Aviation workers begin warning strike. VC's wives shift parley. And ASUU strike extension, protest in cities. Okay, who has the major headline? I think Mariam has that story.
Yes, I do. So the APC has given like 9 guidelines to all their presidential aspirants. And of the 9, I have a few that I wrote out. One is quite controversial for a lot of the aspirants. They're saying, so one, it says that is one of the guidelines that it has barred any one of them from going to court without first seeking in-house redress and ventilation of their grievances. So whatever happens, deal with it at home first until then, until you have exhausted that before you move on to go to court. Then they are meant to sign undertakings to accept the outcome of the polls and support the person that emerges. I like that this is put out, up front. Then they also to take an oath not to engage in any thuggery or any anti-party activities. Kudos, I love that. Then there's also a voluntary letter of withdrawal that they must sign before the Commissioner for Oaths. But many of them are uncomfortable with this, that because for them they feel it's like a booby trap in the sense that it will give the party the power to sort of impose a candidate on them if they were to sign this. So a lot of them have stalled on signing that party, on signing the whole thing because they just don't feel that there's it takes away their rights if they were to sign that. It gives the party too much power, and
So I read a paper last week which was addressing that specifically. So it was supposed to be voluntary. So it's part of the form. But if it's voluntary, why would you make you sign it? I mean, you only sign it if you. So that's why it gets really voluntary. All right, another story in the nation.
I was going to take the cues back in Abuja. So there's a challenge, allegedly 100 million naira debt that is being owed to the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. The vice president of that association, Alhaji Abubakar Maigandi, said that this 100 billion debts owed to members of their association has caused a cash restraint. So they don't have the ability to buy more products. The reason they are owing this money is because there is a Petroleum Equalization Fund, which is like a bridge fund from transporting fuel from wherever you buy it from, which is largely down south, up to wherever you are buying, going to be selling in the north. And that the Petroleum Equalization Fund has now been defunct. They now have a Nigerian midstream, downstream petroleum regulation agency, and they've been making persistent demand on this over 12 months. Both the Petroleum Equalization Fund and the new agency haven't responded to them, and that's why queues are back up north.
Okay, so the Committee of Vice Chancellor of Nigeria University Spouses, CVCNUS, their wives now. Yes, that was supposed to go for. That's what they call them. Yes, spouses. They were supposed to go to what's this country again? Turkey for their conference. Have postponed.
Because VC and the rest of the ladies.
It's not me, don't call
I remember she guys took this story last week.
She took the story. They have postponed it and they said the new date will be communicated to people. They apologize for every and
apology
any
accepted, wives.
And there are speculations that this postponement is as a result of the uproar, like Miriam had quizzed them
because you see, that's why we like women leaders. They listen and they respond. Not like the men just like, what are they saying? Thank you, Jerry. Your apology is accepted. God bless you. So our president is really concerned about desertification, drought, degradation, rights, restoration. I mean, stuff that you're concerned about. So it's off to Côte d'Ivoire in Abidjan to attend a conference that will be held. It's called the Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, which is really a United Nations event. So it's off again, and I'm really happy that we are part of that conversation. But while we are having these conversations, let's remember that we have serious other issues.
Yes,
we should send this to the next event. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're moving on to Vanguard. Manufacturing sector stagnates. Do more to tackle insecurity, hunger, Catholic bishops tell leaders. Accident claims mother, children, police officer in Ibadan. Declare Buhari's pardon for Dariye Nyame illegal, Serap tells court. Why I haven't named those behind insecurity in Imo, says Uzodinma. Aviation union shut down flight operations in 2-day warning strike. UK excludes Nigerian graduates as it begins high potential visa application. ASUU's warning strike ends today. Union may go to full-blown action. Bandits kill 55 in fresh Zamfara attacks. Okay, which story are we starting with?
A lot of strikes. So the air travelers will now be able to travel because, according to the airline operators of Nigeria, they were supposed to start a strike for the 9th of May, which is today, but they have cancelled it because the federal government had promised to urgently attend to their needs. And one of the issues that they highlighted is the fact that aviation fuel is now about 700 naira per litre, which is making things difficult for them. But now that the federal government has promised that they are going to wade into the matter as fast as possible, they are relaxing the suspension and work will begin. Unfortunately, aviation workers on their own have decided to embark on a 2-day warning strike. So even when the airline operators are working, the people who are supposed to do the proper servicing will be at home for 2 days, saying that the federal government needs to attend to their needs. They have a lot of needs, and that they've been talking back and forth with the federal government, and nothing has been done. So this is just a warning. It may escalate or it may reduce depending on how the federal government attends to them.
When it rains, it pours.
ASUU, two stories quickly. Right. ASUU, on the other hand, they are supposed to have relaxed their... They have finished the extension of the 2-month strike that they had, but they are likely going to continue because, according to them, they said the federal government is not serious about, attending to their needs, and they are going to insist on this strike. They are not relaxing because it seems they are not paying attention to... Everybody's focusing on elections right now, and they are not paying attention to the students. That they would have thought of going back to school because parents and stakeholders are appealing that they come back to school. But if they go back to school, what will happen is the federal government will still relax and not do what it proposes to do.
Okay, so very quickly, go ahead.
Yes, Catholic bishops representing 16 countries of West Africa came together in Abuja. And, the topic of conversation was the problems of insecurity in the sub-region, poverty and hunger, and the place and the role that politicians, those in government, and us as a people, as Africans, need to play. The Archbishop of Abuja, His Grace, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, his message was really to the politicians that they need to do more when it comes to insecurity, and that it's less talk and more action. And then for us, the people, we also need to do something concrete. It's not just about constantly worrying, but we need to do something about it. And to just say that for us as a people, as Africans, this is a collective responsibility, to do our best to make sure that these issues, insecurity, hunger, poverty of our people is really, sorted.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so the United Kingdom is launching something, or has launched something called high potential individual visas. Now, this is a visa for graduates of first degrees, masters, doctorate to travel to the country and work in fields such as technology, science, innovation, entrepreneurship by May 30th. That's when they're going to actually launch it. So the idea really is to get more people who are graduate, but the only problem is that the Nigerian graduates are exempted, as in those who graduated with Nigerian degrees are exempted, and this is because, according to them, I learned that the UK's action is against Nigerian graduates based on the fact that the Nigerian universities do not appear in any of the global rankings. And that's why we see.
Even our private universities?
But I think this is discriminatory, and the reason why I think so is because a substantial amount of the doctors that live in the UK or work in the UK have their first degree from Nigeria. So I think that those of you who work in the UK should object to this and find some way to ensure that, listen, we are here, we're working, and our first degrees came from this Nigeria, and we're adding serious value. So it's highly discriminatory to say that Nigerian university, because we're not in the top ranking, we shouldn't meet this.
We shouldn't be collecting our doctors till tomorrow.
Exactly.
They're just not collecting others because the medical doctors are an essential need
So I think
for
Nigerians
them.
should be given a special status.
But I think they also retrain them when they get there.
Yeah, you do. The
but
standard.
not like based, not like from the
Foundational.
beginning.
Of course not.
Yes.
They are coming, they are bringing back, they are coming with
Train them.
So I think this is highly. I think it should be reviewed actually because
Yes.
Nigeria
We should
should
give it
give
a
it a
special
special
insulting
status.
us too much, I beg.
Yeah, come on.
But major headline. There's
the
the major headline with
manufacturing sector.
Yes, the manufacturing sector has been stagnant. So there was a review done by the GDP review, contribution of the GDP from different sectors, and the manufacturing sector has been stagnant, even went a bit down from 2019 to 2021. In 2019, they were like 9.6%, and they dropped below 9% in 2020, obviously because of the challenges, and even worse in 2021. While agriculture has maintained and grown, agriculture is contributing 26% to the GDP. Manufacturing is only contributing less than 9% in the past 3 years. Here are the challenges that we know about. Obviously, is the fact that there is a scarcity of forex. There's also difficulty in accessing credits. People don't get access to loan. Of course, there's power issue. There's the diesel issue. And all of these are contributing to the fact that manufacturing is reducing. I told the story last week of how people are shutting down their companies. The manufacturing sector generally is a core employment, a place where we can employ a lot of our population,
right,
and we need to pay attention to it if we want to reduce poverty.
All right, very quickly now, let's move to the point. Real reason for Southwest aspirants meeting unveiled. Man allegedly rapes housemaid for 6 years, impregnates her. Traditional ruler accused of child abduction, threat to life by wife. And APC battles discontent over zoning. And despite growth in cash disbursement to 3 tiers of government, Q1 Nigerians still grown. Okay, which stories?
I have the human interest story. So there's this man called Nelson Ogbonnaya Igwe, and he's been dragged before the Ebonyi Family Law Center by a family of a teenager that lives with him or has lived with him for several years. She lived with his family from when she was 7. She was given to his family by her parents because they could not afford her education. And so they asked her to stay with this man and his family, you know, while they support her through school. And then she went in 2021 to stay with her parents for the Christmas holiday, and they discovered she was pregnant. She said that the man allegedly had been molesting her since she was 7. And that even though she could not tell her auntie, the woman is related to the family, she couldn't say anything to her auntie, and that when she went home, she also could not express herself what was happening to her. Wow. That was when she went back in December that her family found out that she was pregnant, and she explained to them what happened. So he had been dragged to court. He has denied it, and he says that a DNA test should be done on the unborn child. So what the family center has done now is, for the period that she's pregnant, you would take care of her, make sure you provide all the hospital bills and everything. Then when she has the baby, the DNA would determine whether you're the father or not. And then if he's not, everything he has put, you know, he has contributed to her well-being will be refunded.
Yeah. So the traditional ruler
But still,
of
there was an abuse
Obauza,
that's happened. We need to find out who abused her.
Dikena Fai Idiato, South Local Government Area of the state, has been accused by his wife, Usinachi Obasi, of child abduction and threat to her life. So Mrs. Obasi is the second wife to this Royal Highness Festus Unwosu, and they were married in 2017. So according to the story, she said that he married her as a second wife. He didn't have any child with the first wife. And so she came to the house with 2 boys that she had had from her boyfriend and brought. So by the time she got into the house, she realized that the Royal Highness was maltreating her. He just didn't want to have anything to do with her. He wanted her to be serving the first wife, transferred the children to the care of the first wife. So I think he married her because of the children. He wanted to have those 2 sons for himself. And so the maltreatment was too much for her. At a point in time, she had to run away because I said there was one particular night he came in with the cutlass and egg and was, you know, forcing her to take it, and then she escaped through the window, ran away. Since 2021 up till now, the Royal Highness hasn't come to look for her. So she took the matter to the family courts, and they had ordered that he appears before them and releases the children. So he drove her, she ran away, and the children has been with him since 2017. So she's saying that she needs her children back. He's not the father of those children. And normally, if you want to adopt children, there's a traditional right you have to perform.
And there's a legal way.
Yes, even the traditional way.
And the court will say if she has the capacity to take up the kids, because
So
if you run off, you might not have any job or something.
but
So
no,
they're not his children. He had the
There is
children
biological-
outside.
yeah.
So he would have done it traditionally. There's a right you have to go through with the consent of the wife. So they've reported the matter to the state. They have summoned him. As at the time of this report, he has not appeared.
Traditional, but we should also mention that legally you must do that through the courts. Adoption, just the traditional is not enough.
Moving quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's see how many stories we can take. Presidential race, odds against additional. I will fix Nigeria, says Saraki. Airlines suspend planned shutdown of operations. I will bolster reward system in APC, says Tinubu. ASUU may roll over strike. Arthur Nzeribe dies at 83. Supreme Court has cleared civil servants to participate in politics, Falana tells federal government. Okay, which story are we taking?
Headline.
Major headline.
So the president of the Africa Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has picked up his interest form. Not the, I think it's just to show his interest, and everybody is now saying the odds are against him because legally the section 38 of the agreement establishing the Africa Development Bank prohibits Adesina as the head from participating in politics. And he said he has to resign before he can serve in any political capacity within the country. Also mentioning that even those that were elected officials that are serving within AFDB in paragraph 3 also cannot serve unless take any partisan political position unless they resign from that position. So generally, anybody within AFDB cannot contest any political position in any country unless they resign from their position. That is the law. So they say it's not the law is not discriminatory against him. It is not prejudice against anybody. It's just to help people focus their attention on what they are meant to do per time.
Okay, there was a story that actually caught my attention because we also saw the story where the head of service, Folashade Yemi, had asked civil servants actually to stay off politics, and she was relying on a legal opinion by Abubakar Malami of the Attorney General. However, Femi Falana SAN has rebuffed that, saying that according to like other citizens, workers are equally entitled by virtue of the Section 39 of the Constitution to freedom of expression, including freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart ideas and information without interference. So he's countering what the Attorney General is saying, that they are allowed to actually be partisan if they choose to. We have to run. Is there any important story we have not taken?
Well, our former Senate President, Bukola Saraki, is running for president, and he went to Kaduna State to say that he's the best candidate. 2023 is not the time to vote for just anyone, but someone who's courageous, and he had proven that during his tenure as Senate President, where he stood his ground, and he says unity is what's important to rebuilding our country, and he's the person that stands for that, and the rest.
Okay, that is all we can take on our front page review. When we return, we want our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic this morning is about the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele's proposed ambition, purported ambition to actually run for president. This has caused quite a bit of reaction amongst various regions in our country. I would like to hear your thoughts on this morning, especially because people like the governor of Ondo State, Governor Akeredolu, has specifically asked that he resign, that it's unethical for him to continue to remain CBN governor and be running for president. Also, another presidential aspirant, Tambuwal of PDP, has also asked that he resigned. And a few people have said that it's wrong for him to run, but others are saying that there's nothing wrong in him. He's a Nigerian citizen, he's entitled to run for office. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. Now, I read in the papers earlier that his chairman of his ward has confirmed that he's a member of the APC. That in itself has thrown others off, saying that why is a partisan man in charge of our finances and our treasury? Because if you're a partisan, then there's a possibility that have you been
using our resources
for your party members? So these are questions that Nigerians are asking, but there's the other quarters are saying, listen, anybody can run for office. Anybody can say, I want to be president, and he should be allowed to be president. But what are your thoughts on this? Who would like to go first?
I believe that okay, so let me put it this way. I believe that every Nigerian should be allowed to run for office. If they have the competence, they meet the basic criteria, they should be allowed to run. So the argument is not on that count. The argument is about conflict. So even if you have capacity, if there's conflict, we cannot trust you. So there's a conflict of interest being that you are the head of the treasury, you are in charge of our monetary policies. CBN directs our monetary policies. CBN should advise the president unbiased about our monetary policies, only to find out the head, that person who should be speaking an unbiased way to the president, is a card-carrying member of a political party. For me, that shows conflict. And when there's conflict, the thing that someone of integrity ethically should do is to step out of that position, because there's a conflict of interest. You protect your name and show that you have that integrity. So the conversation is not around him contesting. You can pick up the phone and contest. He will join every other person on the field. But you cannot contest while holding that sensitive position of CBN.
Mariam has repeatedly said that
he's not.
I'm not running. I've not said that. I'm still waiting for God's direction. He said it specifically.
Yes. And I have read many times, we saw in the papers some vehicles that had his posters all around it, stamped with his pictures.
Yep, we saw that.
So we saw that. We're seeing a group of farmers that have been able to bring themselves together to raise 100 million. Who are these farmers? So in so many ways, it looks like he's saying one thing, but actually doing another. There's also today's story where he went to court to just see the legality, or is it the, constitutionality on if he could run. So on one hand, it looks to me like this is someone who is interested in running, but maybe because of the position that he holds, knowing that he'll get the backlash being the CBN governor, he's being very Nigerian about it, because Nigerians want to do something. They say that the Holy Spirit spoke to them. They want to do something, but this group of people had to come and force them to do it. And one thing I said I noticed with the spirit of this year's aspirants all over different political parties is that everyone is coming out and saying, this is the office I've always wanted to run for. I want to take over from you. And that is what we need. We need you to come out from the very beginning, honest, with your full chest, that this is what I want, and this is why I'm running. And for me, if I can trust you at that level, then I feel like I can trust you another. But if you're here just going left and right, and in the end, if it happens that he has been part of all these, putting his campaign together, he will come across as being, not trustworthy. And I think that already would mar his political ambition.
Yeah, yes, for me, I believe that wise people do things right the first time. With his level of education and enlightenment, this is not what I expect. He knows the rule. He knows the law. He cannot come and give us the excuse. He wants to go and check if the Constitution is looking at him. The Constitution is looking at me. I'm saying it. The CBN Act, Section 9 of the CBN Act, demands that service rule, which says no public officer shall hold any office, paid or unpaid, permanent or temporary, in any political organization, offer himself or nominate anyone else as a candidate for any elective public office. Let me not even go further. Black and white. So he can't pretend that he does not know. He knows. But like the way Nigerians are, we do things with impunity. We always believe that we are above the law. That is what is playing out. The group of farmers that contributed this money are the same group of farmers that have been begging the federal government to give them something so that they can continue to survive. we have issues of inflation. We have issues of crops are not available, readily available for them. Fertilizer is expensive. So I don't understand why they will gather this amount of money. So let's even say that they actually did. This group of farmers that we do not know how they're surviving.
It wasn't only the farmers.
I know. The farmers, when I heard the farmers, that was when my head busted. I'm like, do we even know our priorities in this country?
But you know that the anchor borrowers is also a program from the CBN. So he's probably...
So the group of farmers, however they have gathered themselves and brought money, did not advise him that, Oga, since we want you, let's take for instance, he's not the one that wants himself to run. Please, can't you, why don't you resign from this position so that you can focus on this? Let's do things right the first time so that we don't have issues of conflicting interests. PDP is telling him now that he needs to be prosecuted. He needs to be arrested and quizzed on how funds...
Even APC, that the economy,
the economy has crumbled under him. He needs to tell us exactly where the money is going to and where it's coming from.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'd like to open the phone lines to hear what Nigerians are saying concerning this matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So as I said, we're going to be opening our phone lines now to callers. But I wanted to take this comment from the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kunle Adekoke, on this matter with the CBN governor. He specifically said the governor of the central bank is expected to be impartial and not by his own personal interest or the interest of a political party. Emefiele, as the governor of the CBN, represents all Nigerians. And in that capacity, he's obliged under the Constitution to serve each person irrespective of their party. And it says that without evidence, it would be grossly irresponsible for anybody to be agitated for CBN governor to join politics, or for even him to be joining politics. So that's pretty much the paraphrasing his comment. So everybody's saying that he should resign, pretty much. Nobody's objecting to him to run for office. But it's the ethical thing to do, especially if you're going to be the chief, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You definitely need to step aside from what you're doing right now.
For me, my own worry is this. Nobody needed to have told him about this. If you are competent enough, you're wise enough to be aspiring for that position, you should already know. Yes, and it just shows a reflection of the kind of people that are around him, that are willing to say, oh, you can go there and do it.
Nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen, because we just feel like if you're at that level, you can aspire for anything. Another thing that is very important to me is, why can't you wait to serve your time? Finish your tenure. Establish your amazing wisdom and build your CV that I'm done. Then say, I want to now contest for the position. Because at the end of the day, the fact that he is an APC member already compromises the CV that is building. Because anybody, your party loyalty is very important. Because the party is saying that this is our agenda as a country. You cannot say, economically, this agenda will not work for this country. So, who are you now loyal to? Are you loyal to the party or loyal to the institution you represent?
But thank you for taking me there, because in some quarters, people are already saying that everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry is running for office. It's like a purported fundraising party. It's like, well, also everybody, bring 100 million. Let's just put money together so we can run. We can actually run for
then later
do the
find
election.
a way to pay you
because
back.
it's looking like a fundraising party right now. Everybody just coming forward 100 million naira. See if it's 10 naira.
This is our Nigeria.
But is that what it is? Is it really another way for the party to raise money?
The party will get money.
Yes, what I'm saying is it deliberate?
Some I suspect it is.
Because I'm wondering, everyone is doing this. Like, is this a way that has the party sat with a group of people and say, you know, we need to raise money, and maybe just come and say you're trying to run for office? And if that is the case, you know, one thing with politics and politicians, for me, is something that I just find very uncomfortable, because today they'll say A and the next thing they'll say B, or you look at something right now, you think you know it all. Tomorrow when they flip the page, you're like, oh, so this is what has happened, you know. So for me, it has been bothering me, the number of people that are just coming out from different areas that say that they want to be president. And I say this because I'm also looking at the popularity of the person of the CBN governor. Like, what has he done politically that he thinks he has the following? I know we had Atiku Abubakar talking the other day and says, right now I have confirmed 11 million votes. How many can the CBN governor say he has confirmed? How many votes? Where has he gone to? Where are the different zones that he has gone to talk about his politics? So if you buy a form and say that you're running for president, where exactly do you hope this will take you?
Let me take this call from Ade. He's been holding for a while. Ade, are you there? Thanks for calling. Good morning, Ade.
This is my personal view.
Yes.
I don't want us to blame Emefiele as such.
Okay.
Right.
This is the unseen hand of the cabal that wanted Emefiele from day one, so they can choose a vice president from the north for him. And that vice president will be the one in charge. Emefiele will just be in office as a president, but not in power. It's a plan of the cabal, because they don't want to hands off this presidency. If you watch out, you see that Emefiele has pumped a lot of billions to farmers in the north, a lot. So they prefer Emefiele, somebody they can approach to control. If not, there's no way Emefiele will say he wants to contest for presidency. Somebody who cannot even win a ward in his local government. But the cabal, the unseen hand, are the one pulling him. Come, we'll give it to you. If you watch out, you see that APC have released some forms out that you have to withdraw from. All the contestants have to sign withdraw form. They must go to court.
All right, this is another version. So there are different versions. I said, when he doesn't come out straight to tell us, well, what he has said, and let us be very clear what the CBN governor said, that he is waiting to be directed by God. And today is Monday. His lawyer, Ozekome, will appear in court today to confirm the constitutionality of him running for office. So we'll wait till what the courts say and see that. The vice president.
The vice president denied vehemently for a very long time. He was also praying, but the intention from the inside came out. So Nigerians are used to people that will say, I'm not going to, and then they later come out and say, my people pressured me. It would be a disservice for me not to use this experience to serve my people.
Let's give you comments on social media.
Nigerians also need to open our eyes. We're not going to be voting for anybody who does not come out straight to tell us, this is what I want, this is what I want to do for you.
Let me pause you for a quick second. And the reason I want to pause you is that, okay, let us put the constitutionality of him running aside for a second. Okay. Is Emefiele a good candidate? In the sense that, listen, our problem is mostly economical and insecurity. Our problem, we need somebody who can actually turn around the economy of this country and create jobs for young people. So if we set aside the other thing, is he somebody we can actually consider?
Okay, let me still ask you a question. Has he been able to turn around the economy as we speak? When it comes to the economy right now, he's mostly in charge.
Some would argue that policy-wise, yes, policy-wise.
Yeah. What drives an economy? It's policies, the right policies. You put in the right policies and you're able to get people to come in, get foreign direct investment and all that. It's the policies. So the question is, has he been able to have we seen that level of trying to turn around the economy right now? You don't have to wait till you get into power as a president, because as a president, you're even limited. There's so much you can do as a president. So in your capacity now, what have you done for the economy that will make somebody chill and say, this guy, if you give him the reins, he will do better?
Okay, so I would say I don't know. I don't know if he can. Because as a CBN governor, even though he makes policies, I know that he takes most of his directives from sort of the presidency. You know, he will give his advice, and in the end, it's, you know, we always have this, thing where it shows that there's always someone behind that determines in the end what is done. He has introduced some policies, and then we see him change his mind on those policies. So for me, I cannot say I know him as someone who may be able to run for office, because I haven't seen anything. And that's why I was talking about his political activities even. I haven't seen that side of him. I've never heard of him outside of CBN governor, and someone who is really struggling to, you know, help rebuild our economy.
Do you remember Soludo?
Yes. But
What
at
was-
the time.
So it was
but at the
mostly
time,
leading the banks. Remember the commercial banks? They had this.
No. Soludo was the same.
recapitalization.
Yes, recapitalization that happened with that period.
He had his tenure.
Okay.
He had things he did. Some people don't agree with it, but the entire nation saw that we had stronger banks.
Yes.
We had less cases of a bank can just fold up. Those were policies
That he put in
Soludo
place.
championed. And the result, very obvious. The policies from this current CBN governor has been trailed with many controversies of, this is not working. We dashed them money. They did not refund the money. Percentage of the money's anchor borrower policy that is one of the greatest achievements of our current CBN governor. If you calculate the percentage of people that are returning the loans, it is very, very low as compared to what it should be because they have many other issues surrounding them. So in my space, I look at it and I'm like, okay, finish your tenure, prove yourself, so that when you come out, you can write your book and give your own account of how you feel you should have done better and the issues you faced. Then when you contest, you are now coming from, I have
A clean
served
slate.
this country,
Yeah.
I have served in the private sector, I have written my history, and now I feel I've seen every perspective. I want to come and become your president. At this time, it just was not.
Let me take this call from Olagoke. Olagoke, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead,
morning.
please.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good morning.
Yeah. Please, I will quickly add this. You see, the CBN seat and the CBN Act. Yes, I'm here. Good morning. Good morning to you and your ladies here. I
morning.
quickly want to say something. The CBN Act has been so brutalized. The BC has just read out a portion of it. The CBN Act provides that nobody from the commercial bank must be brought to be governor of central bank. That is one mistake they've made. Two, the economy is crashing under the governor of central bank, and I think they've seen this as an escape route. Number two. Number three, now, what is happening? The governor is not even in control. It's so germane for the economic development of Nigeria. If you look even across the West African coast, our naira is now very, very useless. Comparison to other currencies, the CFA, the CD, go and look at it. The central bank is not playing the right role right now. Huh? So, if he wants to go, he should go. Since he became central bank governor, he has opened the vaults of central bank to all sorts of things. And what people are doing now is to gather some money and give to their cronies elsewhere to say, oh, go and buy some for me, go and buy for. Why don't you probe the sources of those such contributions?
Thank you very much, Olagoke.
Yeah.
Let's take a few comments on social media before we wrap up on this.
So Festus Akim Boyewa says, Nigeria would have been bankrupt if not for the way the CBN managed our difficult economy. UK is basically crashing at the moment with inflation creeping to 10% from 2% 2 years ago. MacMe says, I think it's condemnable declaring interest while still in the office. Even if it's not like that, people's perception will be he's using government money and materials to run for the seat. It's ridiculous and reeks of foul play, but no be Nigeria we day.
You know, so I think we can wrap up on this, but I think the general perception is like, let's obey the rules. One second, go ahead.
Yes. The first says again, what's the difference between the CBN governor and ADB, that's African Development Bank's president's aspiration to contest for 2023 elections? Why vilifying the CBN governor? Do we think that's the same?
I don't
think it's the same.
The African Development Bank is not in charge of Nigeria's economy.
Yes.
He's not. He's not in charge of the banks. So, and his indication of interest already contravenes his own in the law guiding his position. So, the option is if he wants to actually contest, because what he's done now is shown interest. The next level is if you actually want to become a candidate, you need to resign from being wherever you are. Same applies to...
I think it's just the right thing to do. I mean, Nigerians, leaders across all levels must demonstrate doing the right thing at every time.
Following the rule of law.
So, yes, if they say that you're holding an office right now and it's unethical for you to actually run for office, the right thing for you to do is to step down. And by stepping down, you're demonstrating to us that that's the right thing to do. And the Nigerians are seeing that leadership. So, do the first step.
Yeah.
Step down.
So we are talking to all the governors, the senators, the ministers, all of you too. You're all in the same boat. If you are running for office, you step down.
Right.
We've said it too many times.
Let's go on a break. That's all we can take on this segment. We'll wait for Zekome's hearing with the courts today and see what happens. When we come back, move on to other hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So news coming to us now is that ASUU, at the early hours of this morning, have extended the strike to another 12 weeks. This decision was taken at the NEC meeting held in Abuja this Monday morning this morning. The emergency meeting had in attendance all the principal officers and branch chairmen, started Sunday and ended early this morning, where they decided that this strike will continue for another 12 weeks. Now, the implications of that is that our children who are in school would have to stay home for another 12 weeks. This is one of those unsettling information news for family members at this point. And it's something that is important for us to talk about because we understand very clearly that ASUU is still, their demands haven't changed. They include the implementation of the Memorandum of Action, which was signed back in 2020 for the revitalization of public universities, renegotiation of the 2009 FG and ASUU agreement. Outstanding issues are also earned academic allowances, state universities, promotion arrears, withheld salaries, non-remittances of third-party deductions, and rejection of the UTAS that ASUU technical team developed to replace the IPPIS. Now, these are all the talks we've been talking about for the past months right now. But the demands haven't changed, and we're not hearing any progress in this conversation. That's why we're taking up the story, because our children are home, and what are they going to be doing? I mean, the kids actually protested last week. They went on the streets demanding that they have to open the schools because they want to finish up. What are your thoughts on this? On the fact that the UK government has removed Nigerian universities of accepting our degrees because we're not in the top schools. These are some of the reasons why we can't enter that list of top schools, because our children need to get back to school. So what are your thoughts on this? We'd like to call the numbers on your screen, 08127053687. Also call 09139776948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets. Let me start with you, BC, because I know that ASUU matter is really one of those things that you're concerned about.
The story,
yeah, it's just very painful, and I'm not seeing any hope right now. I'm constantly worried about these children. They are all over the streets. We don't see, you know, when there is a plan, when there is hope, when people have come together to say, okay, give us so and so time, let's see what we can resolve. You can sit at home and give yourself time. Okay, what trade can I easily learn waiting for this matter to be resolved? Now what I see is nobody is telling us as at when we're going to have the strike called off. Negotiations are not working out. And so these children do not know, do I want to get a job now? I may get a job in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they call it off. Exactly. And I leave the job. Or do I want to learn it? Which trade can I learn in 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Yesterday I went out and I saw a lot of young people. All have gone into Yahoo. And I'm sure most of them are students. Because the idle mind, they say, is the devil's workshop. When your mind is constantly idle, you don't have any form of hope. You have to find something to keep yourself busy. And unfortunately, some parents are even tired to have this conversation. Do you keep telling, there was a picture, a viral picture I saw, that a barber did a very funny kind of design, like an architect. And somebody was saying, ASUU strike, better call off strike, architect won't drop out. You know, because everybody's just trying to find ways to express and engage themselves in the time being. And it's not helping our educational system. We're already lagging behind when you compare us to international best practices when it comes to education. And now you extend this strike, only God knows when it will be called off. We are losing academic year, we are losing number of years, and I keep complaining because by the time you now graduate at 27, 28, 29, the labor market is not willing to take you because they say you have passed the age. So I don't know why an employer, and I'm going to blame both of them on both hands, an employer will be insisting that you have to pay me with this platform. You are the employer. You are the employee. The employer says, I'm going to pay you with this. You are telling me that employed you that you must pay me with this. That's too much rights. If we sort out that one and then we start looking at the amount of money for revitalization and all that, we have something to work towards. We have a plan. We have a long-term, we should have a long-term plan, a medium-term plan, a short-term plan. All the plans, Mariah, cannot be done in a few weeks. Can we just be wise for the sake of these children?
This is what you get. With all due respect, I hate to sound sexist, but when you have a bunch of men talking, the egos just continue to knock each other. You know, when women are involved in this conversation like that, we're willing to step down. Okay, you know what? Let's use the youth as
for now.
Let's children. You know, we think because we understand what's at stake. The children are at stake. But the men are just knocking their heads, ego is slapping each other, and they're refusing to realize that the grass, as you're jumping, as elephants are in the grass, that is suffering. Yeah. So that's the problem. We have too many men in the room.
Ego clashing.
But Mariah,
I'm sorry to sound sexist, but it's just the reality. Yeah.
Is it really just about UTAS? So if they were to take just UTAS and say, okay, we would agree, is the university willing to go back? For me, I feel it's really about the salaries and the fact that they've been owing this for many years.
Have been paying.
And there's this agreement, this is since 2020. And we know our government, administration after administration, they just don't keep to their word. You know, they always have a way of pushing it on to the next administration, and that one will take it on and try to see what they can do until, you know, they change hands. The only thing I see about the federal government insisting on using IPPIS is that I think it's an important insistence, because if ASUU insist on their own today, who else are we going to, federal government going to be sitting on the table with insisting on their own type of platform? So we need, I think in that case it's important, but I feel that the reason they are pushing that UTAS is because even all the other ones we haven't done. And if you can meet them halfway on the other ones, ASUU, we can let this go for the sake of our children. I don't know, I don't think what you said really sounds sexist. It's just that there are some things that we are better, we have strength, we are better at. And this, we have an example with the women, the wives of that decided, okay, we're going to step back. That's a woman thing to do. We look beyond just right now, you know. And it's fair to say that if there were more women around this table in these groups, sometimes some things will be easy, will be handled with some ego, pride and everything will be put aside.
There'll be more diplomacy.
Now, concerning our children, what are we going to do?
Let me pause you for a second. I'll come to you. What are your thoughts on this? And I'll come to how we can help our children.
Since the beginning of ASUU strike, this rounds of strike, it's been how insensitive are our leaders. That's been I've said it over and over again on this platform. How insensitive are our leaders? How would you grandstand with the lives of your children at stake? So it's like if they are my children are spending time at home, and I will grandstand that it's my way or no other way, and we are spending months trying to decide what is at stake is the lives of our young ones. So for me, it is the insensitivity, it is the rub it in your face, you are nothing, that Nigerians get day in, day out, and reduces their level of self. And we know we cannot rise above how well we see ourselves.
But so, is it fair on ASUU? Because in fairness to them, they continue to, because we've seen even during Jonathan's time, they signed these MOUs and nothing was done. So they've kind of, because of the children, stayed on. How long can they stay on?
Leaders for me are the leaders in politics. The ASUU people are frustrated Nigerians who have taken to the only thing that they seem to find working.
Yes, strike.
Strike. Because if they don't strike, and we've seen it everywhere else, the airline operators now, because the only language our leaders understand
is strike.
So we see incessant strike happening as the solution. The insensitivity of our leaders, number one, the fact that we demean human efforts. So many schools, the sacrifices people make. Many schools in Nigeria are producing half-baked graduates. Fact. The international, we've said it by ourselves, international people have promised to your face that you don't have any university here.
You don't.
Because globally, you don't have any university. So whether we call it private or call it public, in Nigeria, internationally, we don't have. universities in the top 100. So when we are talking,
that's sad.
we need to realize the issue on ground. You have millions of people, 200 million, they want to do census. We don't know the number of Nigerians, and many of us, by age, we are all less, most of us are less than 40, less than 35. Nigerian median age, we have small children and most of our population, and we are not taking care of them. Yeah. They will resort to crime. They'll become the problem of the future.
Yes,
and our country leaders are busy arguing over what they will do because your children can go abroad. How many of your children, how many people would the abroad contain? Until we take our education serious, we are not ready for any positive change in this country.
All right, well said, Topo. Let's go on a quick break. Fantastic. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We often say that it's in the face of problems that we find opportunities to progress. So this right now, this ASUU strike in Nigeria is a major problem that we can begin to find solutions on two sides. First, the children who are in school can find solutions to develop themselves.
Call them students, so they've warned me on social media that we're referring to them as children. Please call them students.
Oh, students. We apologize, you know.
We are children.
Yeah,
We're paying your school fees.
Exactly.
We Parents Association.
But you see, there are international bodies that are actually see this as a problem and an opportunity to help, because if you have a program, for example, and Elon Musk, for example, have a scholarship for people who are actually disadvantaged because of strike. So you're not in school because your school is striking. There should be a special scholarship that gives you a special program that you can learn some kind of a technical skill while you're away, just to engage you. There should be something specific for this class of students, because the truth is that it's unfortunate that in a country that obviously not prioritizing them.
Yeah.
So if we have people like that, maybe it's an opportunity time for us to start taking all these rich folks across the world to create scholarships for these young people.
I don't know about scholarships, but I know that there are many
skills acquisition. I don't want the normal bid making.
So that's why I realized, you know, I've seen like three people I follow online say they created ASUU strike package that is still going to cost students money to pay to learn something. And it is actually, a few parents can be able to afford to engage their children positively. It is expensive to engage children. You put them into a program.
Students,
to engage students. You will put them into a program, you pay to put them in those programs. So, and not all parents have the financial wherewithal or even the brain bandwidth, because everybody's brain is occupied with the cost of living and all of that. So the mindset to even think, oh, my children are on strike, what can I engage them into doing? Because we don't want them to be idle. So in that space, we need to now have other people take up the responsibility for the parents. We need more NGOs. We need more organizations that will not say, regardless of your background, you are on strike. We have this platform. All you need to do is get data and you will learn. And it will be free, because there are several that are paid.
I'll come to you in a second. Let me take Etu from Niger State. Good morning, Etu. Are you there? Hello, Etu. Are you there? I think we lost that call.
Yeah, so, you know, those days, for you to choose to be a teacher or a lecturer, you have a specific kind of love for children. And that requires that you will make some certain sacrifices, because you're looking beyond it as a job. Just let me dress up, come to the office and just do my work. I remember as a classroom teacher, sometimes we don't have materials to do the job. We use our personal funds. We don't go back to school to collect it. We use it just to make sure that work is going on. These children are engaged. You can see that passion. And even though we're not earning as fantastic, the joy of having these kids call your name and, you know, praise you when they get older, they remember the impact you have made in their life, is what fueled being a teacher and a lecturer. What I would like ASUU to give me is to have a vision. Look at the global scale. We are nowhere. We should be thinking of ways to change that. Our lecturers are very intelligent if you engage them one-on-one. But because we have put the interest of governments must pay this, if they don't pay it at the time that we want it, it's okay, these children can. we're not thinking, we're not resourceful. The university campus can we can make money out of the university. We can make money with companies who are in that. Every university you go to, you see companies who are working there. We can milk those resources and get funding to run our school, pending when government sorts out itself. So the negotiations can continue, but you are working to engage the children in school. At least the government is still paying. It's not like salaries are cut. It's just that you now want a better pay, you now want this platform, you now want this. We can be having that conversation while you are looking for, you are thinking outside the box, you are trying to do best for yourself. And if it comes to a time where you are tired of it, you can start making noise. International organizations, get them involved to see that this percentage the government is putting in education is not enough to give us the standard that we want. But you can't abandon these children because government will not listen to you.
I'll come back to Mariam. Etsu, are you still there? He's been holding.
Yes, I'm there.
You're live.
Marayo.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, you're live.
Okay, thank you, Marayo. Thank you. Good morning, Marayo.
Morning.
We really appreciate your program, Marayo.
Thank you,
You are
sir.
doing very well.
Thank you, sir.
This is a very good program, Marayo.
Thank you, sir.
We really appreciate you and your colleagues.
Thank you,
And
sir.
even Babajide, journalist hangout, I think TVC is one of the best TV. We appreciate what we are always seeing.
Thank you,
Issue
sir.
of this strike, Marayo, we parents, we are not happy. Extending it for another 12 weeks. We don't know why federal government refused to give them or listen to them. They should please, we are begging as parents, because it's like federal government is trying to instigate parents against the union also. Parents are not happy any longer. Please, I don't know if the union will also consider they should just call back the strike. Telling us that another 12 weeks is too much, Moriah.
Yeah.
And this is our stand as parents. We are still begging the union and also the federal government. How much is that? It's not up to $1 billion. They should try to sit down with them and sort out this issue.
Right. Thank you so much, sir.
You know, I hear, before the parents called, in my mind I was going to say, should we just start having a conversation about privatizing all universities? But then I know there are many Nigerian parents that may not be able to afford it. So there's that side. But if my child would go to school and finish at, at the proper designated time, should that be better? And then maybe federal government would play the part of just making sure that standards are kept, amongst the university, make sure that you're doing enough work so that, we're all on a high global ranking. But having said that, I want to talk about the fact that we talk about a group of people that are able to take their children abroad. There used to be a time when it was the richest of the rich that could do that. But now I'm seeing Nigerian parents putting their small coins together, borrowing, doing all sorts of, loans, adache, cooperatives to be able to send that child to school. So it's not a rich parent sitting in Nigeria. It's just parents struggling, looking for alternatives for their children to go abroad. You know what made me cry about the Ukraine war and our children our students treated the way they were treated? Because I could see some of the parents, these are not rich parents. They had sent them, for some of them it was, okay, go and do the 4 years. When you're done, you come back, because there's no money to go and come back and everything. So it's really tough. And now for those of you that feel, oh, we can afford, you are in the system, you are in part of the administration, you are making all the rules, you can afford to send your children abroad. There's this thing I say concerning my book, which is, I know that there are some children that can buy this book. They have access to it, they have the money, it's something that they are familiar with. But then I have 80% of Nigerian children that may not be able to afford this, or have that conversation, or have access to that sort of conversation. Then they all grow up one day, and they're all adults. And then this 10% or 1% that understand the conversation on environmental conservation and everything want to talk about it with the 80%. They're not going to listen to you. So that's what you're doing. So if even those 10% that you take abroad and whatever, they cannot do much without their counterparts that haven't left, without their counterparts that are not getting proper education. So a lot of people will say, yes, the ASUU has the right to be angry because the government, year after year, has, disappointed them. But for how long? For how long are we going to keep doing this?
I mean, this is really something we need to ponder about. I mean, we have to wrap up with this, but it's a painful development that we're having to have extra 12 weeks of strike. Really sad. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll take a few comments on ASUU across social media pages. Do you have any more?
Yes, I do.
Mary.
Francis Akinboyewa says, while ASUU and other university workers are right to be angry, it's their militancy that will destroy public university education in Nigeria. University lecturers have been striking for decades, damaging students in the process. Federal government must privatize their universities. Umar Farouk Ajibola says, this shouldn't be an issue to be contemplating on. Talk less of going to strike persistently. We're not supposed to be experiencing this at all because we're a citizen of this, our great nation. Anybody says, on international study travel, it's not even elite kids that make up the huge number of Nigeria looking to study abroad. Many just want to use travel route to leave the country because it seems like the easiest. They don't have the money for the fees at all.
Ogosamo says, if they use IPPIS to pay ASUU, the lecturers will lose up to 100K in taxes. When the office is enrolled in IPPIS, the taxes triple. That's why the ASUU came up with UTAS. Antnam says, Nigerian education is very cheap. Another way to generate revenue is by increasing fees. Maybe do it by income. The people who earn more pay higher.
Hassan Sariko Kweyemi says, taking education system with levity shows Nigeria is dragging far above the level we should be. It's been dragged far above the level we should be. A giant of Africa with zero reformation in the education sector. Shame on us that we're unable to lead the whole of Africa educationally. Reason for having political instability.
Let me take this call. I'll come back to you. Akonde has been holding from Mina. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
And I want to appreciate you, ladies. You always try to do due diligence on most topics that you speak on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
A big thumbs up to you all.
However,
on the issue of ASUU, I'm a member of ASUU. Actually, I'm a young lecturer in the university system.
Okay.
But I think I would like to respond to BC's comment in relation to the speak with passion, use their money to get one or two things. I think she has not done some little investigation on how lecturers operate. For example, I earned just about 145,000 naira as my gross earnings. Okay. After statutory deduction, I'm left with about 103,000 naira. Okay. From this 103,000 naira, I'm expected to publish in reputable journals. I'm expected to go for international conferences if I'm supposed to be promoted. And by the time you try to publish in one journal, just one, might be $50, $75, or $100. And within 3 months, you're expected to put in at least one publication within 3 or 4 months. How much is left from that 100,000 naira that you want to use to help the system to get infrastructures and other things that the students need? We see where laboratories are using AC, water from the AC as distilled water. The only reason why our university are still standing is because ASUU has been insisting that the government must not abandon the university. If not, we would have been back to what the primary schools are today. It's not that the people in ASUU don't have children in the university or they don't have passion for the job. But the government is trying to kill these universities. That's why we are nowhere in the first 1,000 universities in the world. None of our universities are among them. That is a big minus for us. We should know that universities are down. We are only using our sweat as ASUU lecturers to just manage these students to become something.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akonde.
I have a question for him.
Yeah. Yes,
sir.
He has gone off already.
Oh, okay. God. I wanted to ask him, but they sell handouts. So this is, I'm not saying that government is doing right.
Or put the cost on the children to now revolt.
No. Let's not encourage that. They sell he's not putting the cost on the children. The children already have the cost. They sell handouts. Administrative fees, we pay. See, they say it's a public school, right? You just pay the fees. We pay some other fees. I went to school in Nigeria. We pay different things that we hear of embezzlement. The money that they're embezzling, if they put it into the school, that will do something for them. I'm just trying to see how they can be resourceful to get enough money to keep these kids in school, pending when the government changes their mind.
I think we agree with you. However, what I think ASUU is saying that there are other bigger costs, like revitalization, like they're building.
Yes.
I was saying that my husband went back to Ife, where he grew up, how at night they used to walk in the bushes and they used to play around. He said he could, right now, everywhere is unkept. Nobody's taking care of these places, so it's dilapidating. And so the kind of funds that they need is not just the administrative fee, they need real money to actually revitalize those schools.
There was a tweet here that was very important. I'm looking for it. Somebody can go when I find it.
Okay,
so, go ahead.
Please, because one of the things that I feel concerned about whenever we talk about education is because we focus on the school, focus on the parents, focus on the students, and I feel that many times we don't pay as much attention to these students. So we, as a society, we have a responsibility to them. And the responsibility is to give them positive options. So right now, they are not in school, which would have kept them busy. But what are the other positive options we're engaging them in that can help them occupy their time without going into crime? And that's kind of thing I want us to, because we can't discuss entirely on the show. We don't even have all the solutions, but can we throw the question out there that everybody can start thinking on, how can I engage the 3 or 4 people around me, taking responsibility? So I have one ASUU strike person working with me and earning. I was supposed to make them 3, but when I calculated the cost I'll be paying them for that period, I couldn't. I would love to take more people in. Let every organization just find a way to bring in someone who is on ASUU strike that you are helping to teach and mentoring along the way, and we'll reduce the number of people that will be resorting to crime by giving them positive options.
Yeah, a very important.
Let me take this call. I'll come back to you again. Free, are you there from Abuja? You're live. Good morning, Free. Hello?
Hello?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Yes, good morning, ladies. I would love to say some few things. As we all know, Nigeria is one of the most religious countries in the world. Everybody is passionate about their religion. But one thing people are forgetting is that love is one of the greatest virtues, if not the greatest virtue in the Bible. But one virtue that is lacking in Nigeria is love. Nobody loves each other. Only very few people have genuine love for each other. If not, I don't think this ASUU strike will be going on. There are people on the board, the government, the people involved. They can find ways to work this out. Children have been home for months. You'll be in year 1 for almost 2 years. You're stuck in one place because of a government that does not care. They can put things in place to fix these things, but they don't want to. They don't care to, rather, because their children are probably schooling abroad, so they don't care. So if we're trying to be so religious, I think we should make use of the virtues that are in the Bible, which is love, and try to come together and see how we can help these situations so it doesn't have to be like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priya.
So Oladiji says the solution is for universities to be privatized. Government should offer scholarship to the less privileged and make sure educational standards are maintained. The government alone cannot carry the burden. Miriam mentioned this earlier, and I think they need to start looking into this.
We also about prioritizing the education. Sometimes, right now, politics has even taken center stage. So it's even hard for you to even get the attention of the Honorable Minister at this point, because they've had several meetings last year. Right now, we're not here. I saw a tweet saying that they've not called us for a meeting. I was seeing a message from ASUU's Twitter saying they're yet to call them for a meeting. So obviously, as I said, it's really sickening that at this point we're still discussing the strike. The fact that the young kids, the students are still home. And it seems as though the federal government has not prioritized their education. That's the perception Nigerians are saying. Because yes, you're right, ASUU should do some stand down, yes, maybe on the point of the UTAS. However, has federal government made the obligations? Have you paid the monies? Although I know that the Honorable Minister had said that some monies were paid, but it's not sufficient according to ASUU. They need enough across the country, so they still need more. They need more help. Let me take a few messages. Somebody said, Auntie Helen SN says that the problem with ASUU's perennial strike is that it hurts only the students and their parents, not the government. Yes. ASUU must find another way to get the government's attention and pressure them into action.
What other way?
Yeah.
What other way?
That the government will listen to.
Yes, what other way?
That's a very profound...
Can they compromise? So you know, they are insisting on this has to be done now. That's what I hear from all the conversations. Can they work out a plan? We're giving you so and so time for this. This is a short-term goal. This is a medium-term goal. This is a long-term goal. We're giving you this time. We're giving you this time.
Those are all the MOAs that they're talking about.
The new administration.
Yeah, so those are all the MOAs.
They didn't implement. The government is not implementing. So that's the
I remember that time was a really, they really sat down and said, okay,
let's break it down.
They'll
Take it
2 billion,
one at a
20
time.
billion.
Okay, we compromise here, you compromise there. We take out
they
Utah.
signed everything. They did not implement it now.
We have to wrap up on this. I think we have to. We have our final segments on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but sadly, 3 months is a long time.
It is.
To keep this student. Government can come to a decision table, sit down with ASUU again to find some kind of a middle ground, especially, and listen, if you take my advice, change the, who is the leader of ASUU? The spokesperson, let it be a woman. Put, who's the spokesperson of federal government? Let's have a female, because I have apologize for being very sexist on this matter, but I really sincerely feel that this is a maternal conversation. It has nothing to do with these men.
Yeah.
Because all they're thinking about their egos, their elections, their money, their pay, let some people who have maternal instincts come into this conversation and can talk and understand that the interests of women, of children, of students, should be at the front burner of this conversation. Hopefully, we'll see some kind of difference. If the president can do that, we'll be happy. That's all we can say. When we go on a break, we'll come back with the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Fantastic. So that's all we can take on the show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.